Houston, say again, please.
Houston, we've had a problem.
Hey there folks, welcome you all to yet another Friday vlog of mine. Another Friday has caught up with us people. Yes it has, and I've had a good week actually. It's been alright. Flaggins up to you all. I've got plenty of stuff done for work. So work's gone well this week. Still working from home, obvs. And my running's gone really well, and I've done 3 runs again this week, and I think that's what I did the week before. But I think I said last week, like, they were really hard because of the weather and everything being hot. But I think now that because I've been on a don't eat very much diet. It doesn't matter what diet you choose, people. It always comes down to don't eat as much as you were, and you'll lose weight. It's basically how it works. You know what I mean? Calories in, calories out. So this week's runs just improved vastly, and in fact the run I did yesterday, and normally I've done it today, but the week balanced out differently because I look at the weather app and the best days were sort of off of the days I would normally run. So I did I did Monday, Tuesday, Thursday as opposed to Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And yeah, I did a cracking 10.45k, whatever it was yesterday. And that was a really, really good run. And so the last 2 runs I've done have just been great. All of them have been good this week, to be fair. And I think a lot of it's to do with the weight that I've lost over the last few weeks from just not eating a lot and just pushing through people. So if you put weight on and you try and do the same distances, of course it's going to be harder work. So I think between that and the fact that it was a bit of a cooler week as well, and I've also started having a lot more water before I go running, because I don't drink when I run. Water, that is, not beer. I don't drink water when I run. Just purely because I just can't be bothered carrying a water bottle about with me. So what I've done is, I thought I was having enough water before I went out, but I made a point of on Monday I think it was, that I was going to drink a lot more water before I went out for my run. And I did that, in the run up to actually going out. And every run that I've done that has been far, far better as well. So I think it's a balance of a lot of things. So my running's gone really well. Gaming wise, I've only been playing Kingdom Hearts. I'm on the first, because anyone who follows the channel will know that I bought the entire collection. Never played Kingdom Hearts games before. And I got the story so far, and I've got Kingdom Hearts 3. So I've just started at the beginning. And it's difficult to kind of keep up with what they've done, but I'm basically playing Kingdom Hearts. I can't remember what it is now. Max, is it, or something? Kingdom Hearts, something beginning with M. 1.5, and then there's another one on there which is 2.5, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in between which I don't know whether I'll do or not. And then I've got Kingdom Hearts 3 as well. So I'm on 1.5, I'm just in the first one. I haven't done that much of it because I haven't actually done a huge amount of gaming this week. I try and do a couple of hours on it, and then, I've been trying to get back into the guitar as well this week. I haven't played the guitar in the best part of a year, and I've forgotten just about, well, then you don't forget, I haven't forgotten like how to play the guitar. I've just forgotten the songs that I'd learned. So, I've been sitting down with the music that I printed off, and I've just been, I've picked it up dead quick again, to be fair. The minute I sit down with a song, I go, oh yeah, I remember now. So it's not, but I think the reason that I was putting it off was because I had forgotten it, and I thought it's not going to be much fun sitting down and having to learn it all again. But it's not been like that, really. I've picked it up pretty quick. Really, it's just getting me fingers back to full force so that they don't hurt within 5 minutes of playing a guitar. So that's been the aim this week, is just to try and gradually build up the fingers' strength and toughness again. So I've been balancing a bit of that out with listening to I'll listen to maybe some podcasts and stuff while I'm doing that. And then I'll try and get a few hours of Kingdom Hearts in if I can, and then do a bit of telly. So I've kind of been doing gaming, but it's been light. And I'm really enjoying Kingdom Hearts though. It's a beautiful world to be in. It's just beautiful to look at. It's beautiful music. It's just fun. It's nice to play a game that's got action and fighting, that's not angry fighting. I mean, it almost makes me hurt knowing that Ellie's on her way Rambo style. It's about to get nasty, people. So, at some point that's going to come to a halt when The Last of Us Part 2 arrives in a few weeks. But I don't think I'll have finished Kingdom Hearts 1.5 in a couple of weeks' time at the rate that I'm playing at the minute. So that's the gaming that I've done, but I'm really enjoying it. I've literally just done the first proper section, which is the Alice in Wonderland bit at the beginning, first boss fight. Come out of there and I've just got into the Tarzan section. Had just got there, spoke to Tarzan, and now I'm literally at the save point where you start running along the jungle with Tarzan, I think. So yeah, really loving it. Love that whole vibe of that game. I have no idea what's going on, but I don't really care. It's just nice to play and figure out the sort of puzzle aspects of where you're meant to go next, and you know, leveling up and getting more AP points so you can have more moves, all that sort of stuff. And it's a nice, easy game to, if you've not played it for maybe a few days or whatever, you don't really forget. You know, you'll easily remember what the buttons were. It's not that hard to remember. So I've still got Final Fantasy VII to carry on with. So I've just got to the second part of the open world, and you know, I'm at the save point there to carry that on as well. And that's dead easy to jump back into as well. So I've just really been enjoying getting back into original Final Fantasy VII over the last number of weeks, and then Kingdom Hearts, obviously, when that arrives. And it's been a nice time for Kingdom Hearts to come along, because it is nice, easygoing gameplay. It doesn't get you frustrated, and you just kind of wander around smacking things, and things pop out, you pick them up, and you know, it's just nice. And you've got the whole Disney thing with it as well, which is just a light, fluffy place to be. So it's been really good fun. So I've really been enjoying it. We do have a number of subjects to talk about. Now, the most obvious... Well, no, hang on a minute before we go any further. I did find out today, out of the blue, and this will only be important if I do more Let's Play stuff in the near future. Probably won't bother about it until the new consoles come out, to be fair, because there's not really much point at the minute. But I just noticed, because I noticed somebody post up on Twitter that they bought one, and I'd been checking for ages for a 4K Elgato capture device, or you know, or at least one that did HDR and 10, what have you. And it turns out that they have made a HD60S Plus, which is capable of capturing. It can capture 2160p, is it? I think something like that, 2160p, something like that, at 30 frames per second, and everything below that, including HDR, it can do at 60 frames per second. So if you want to stick with 1080p at HDR, you can do that at 60 frames per second. So there's a better capture device out there. I've checked the specs and requirements, and my laptop holds up to that and beyond. So I really did well in investing in that laptop. That laptop was £1,000 when I bought it. So it was top end. I mean, it's 16 gig of RAM in it as well. And it's got the 4 gigabyte graphics card, and it's an AMD as well, which is what they recommend for the new Elgato. No, not AMD, the other one, the GForce one. I'm getting confused now, but it's the GForce anyway. So it's got the appropriate graphics card. So yeah, so it's 170 quid though, so I'll probably leave it until, well, A, until I decide that I'm going to do some more Let's Plays, and B, when the new consoles come out. It'll be a combination of the two, really, because when the new consoles come out, I think it'll be probably, well, not that, I mean, people don't watch this channel to see stuff as it actually is. You know, they watch, the people that watch my Let's Plays are probably watching it because they enjoy someone else playing it in the company. A lot of people play they play the game while they're listening to me and watching me play the game at the same time. A lot of people do that, like a bit like radio with pictures. So, you know, nobody watches me channel for the likes of what Digital Foundry are doing or anything, but it is nice to be able to post that stuff up as best I can. However, that said, I don't know then what the rendering prospects of that is, because it already takes me an hour to render the intro and outro just to what I've recorded. Because as you know, I tend not to edit the video I record. So when I record Let's Plays, I do it like I do with these vlogs. It's very, very rare you'll ever see a cut in my vlog, and it's usually because somebody knocked at the door, or it's not because I forgot what to say. It's just because something happened. So that's why you get a one shot with me, both in this and in my Let's Plays. There are a few exceptions, one of which are the Dark Souls type games where you're running the same thing over the gauntlet, if you like, over and over again. So they will get edited down. But in the main part, if I'm doing a Kingdoms of Amalur or a Dragon Age, or a, you know, you will see the whole thing as I recorded it, and each episode goes up like that. And that's why there are so many episodes when I do a Let's Play on some of these games, because I don't edit them out. You just see it as I was playing it. And I think a lot of people prefer that, if they're playing it that way as well and they want some company to do that. Other people maybe not. Other people maybe would like it edited down so they're not seeing me just wander around doing side quests and stuff. But that's the way I do it, people. Because frankly, I don't have the time to sit and edit everything I record anyway. And I don't like vlogs that are constantly spliced. With every third sentence, it's spliced because they forgot what they were saying or they messed it up. It's like, how long do you have to do vlogs for before you can just talk? Stop splicing your videos, people. Like, just speaking at the camera. I suppose to some extent, some people they look at their stats. I mean, who am I? I'm getting, a cracking. This is not a down talk on myself at all, but I'm getting a cracking sort of 90 to 100 views on these vlogs if I do a decent enough subject that people are interested about. And they're usually about an hour long, 45 minutes to an hour, thereabouts. And I think some people look at the stats on YouTube and say, well, people don't stick with me for that long. People just want a video that's 10 minutes, 15 minutes long, and that's what you'll get, but it's all spliced down. For me, I just find it really annoying when it's a sentence, 2 sentences, splice, another sentence to splice, and it's just this constant cut off. It's like there's nothing, you can't connect with the person talking to you. It's just information being thrown at you. That's how I feel anyway, but... Anyway, so there you are. So that new device came out, and I didn't even notice until somebody tweeted that they bought one. So it's there. I know that it's an option for when the new consoles come out, and if I do feel like doing some new sort of Let's Plays at that point, then I might look at, or if I've started them again by then, I may at that point decide to buy the new device, because I'll be forking out for the consoles anyway. So another couple £100's not going to be the end of the world. Gonna have a sip of this, people. I'm not a sip. I said flagging up and didn't even sip it. We do have a few things to talk about, starting with obviously the main and obvious one this week, which is the PlayStation event cancellation. Last week's vlog was all about the fact that yesterday was supposed to be the big reveal of games on the PlayStation 5, and it all came to a halt when what happened in the beautiful United States of America happened, with this poor man losing his life because of the outrageous actions of a police officer. Now, I'm not going to say too much about this, people, because this is not what my channel's about, and people come onto this channel to hear me talk about gaming stuffs. But I think it's important for anyone with a platform like this, for however many viewers that they have, to just stand by everything that is happening, and to sort of, well, I suppose just put their voice a little bit behind the Black Lives Matter movement that is going on at the moment. And I think it's extremely important. I mean, it's very, very simple, people. It's very, very simple. Like, you don't have to, I mean, there isn't, it's like you can have a conversation about this for hours and hours and hours on end, but it's really, really simple, right? It doesn't matter what your skin color is, what your sexual orientation is, what your gender is. It doesn't matter what type of human being you are. You should always treat the human being next to you with the same respect and love that you would expect them to give you back, irrelevant of any differences that are there. It's not difficult, people. And nobody is born a racist or a homophobe or any of these things. Nobody's born that way, people. They are not. They are taught that from what they hear around them. Not like a lesson, just from what they hear around them, from what they hear from parents, what they hear from other children, other adults, It is when it's in the environment and it's said out loud, that is what feeds people's opinions and biases and all that sort of stuff. And it is absolutely, I mean, it's not about time. It's well overdue, people. Well overdue. And it shouldn't even have been there in the first place. That everybody is treated with the same respect and the same love and the same humanity that we would all want to be treated. I've never understood it. I've never understood why somebody is treated different because of... I've never, like, nothing... I mean, I can't sit here and say I've not been guilty of something silly. Because, you know, you learn through life. You know, you're never gonna be the perfect person. You might say something silly in a crowd that you don't mean. It's just you think it's a joke and it's not. When you sit back and think later, you think that really was, I shouldn't have done that. It's not really on that. Little things I'm talking about. I'm not talking about something that's a big deal, but little things that, if it just needs thought through a little bit more. I think, and it's, we'll keep it. I mean, let's just keep it simple. As I said before, it isn't difficult, people. You don't have to overanalyze it like I was just about to do there. You just turn that thing on in your brain that says, I'm going to treat whoever it is next to me with the same respect and love that I want to be treated with. That's it. That is it. It's not difficult at all. And I don't care what job line you're in or what you might have seen going on in the world. There is no justification for treating anybody in a way that is the opposite of the way that you would want to be treated simply because of the colour of their skin. Like, this guy died in the most horrible of circumstances because a police officer was treating him in a really inhumane way. And it doesn't matter, whichever way you twist and turn that story, it doesn't matter. You don't treat somebody that way. It would not. Like, all he had to do, if he was concerned in any way whatsoever, all he had to do was put the handcuffs behind him. He can't do anything at that point. And I don't know the ins and outs of what the chap was doing and what was going on and, all that sort of stuff. It doesn't matter. Like, he was an unarmed black man. He was clearly under control. And he could clearly just have simply put handcuffs on him, or had already done and was still doing what he was doing by leaning on his neck. I mean, it's outrageous. It's just outrageous. I mean, I can't believe it's taken this long to get the reaction now that we're getting in America. I mean, obviously these things build up and build up and build up. But I remember not that long ago, was it like last year or the year before? It wasn't that long ago, a couple of years maybe, where that security guard shot the black lad simply because he was like wearing a hoodie walking down the street. I mean, it was just, that was as bizarre. It was like, and then there was in fact, the most recent one, the lad who was out jogging. And the two white guys come out in a pickup truck with the shotguns and the pistols. In fact, that's in the courts at the minute. Because there'd been some burglaries in the area, the first black guy they see running down the street, they stop on a road that he's going to run up, and then they corner him, and then he tries to say, no, fuck off, leave me alone, I'm just jogging, and they shoot him. It's like, there's no, like, you can't even, who in their right mind goes out in a pickup truck with guns anyway? Like, what is this, the Wild West? It's like if you see something suspicious, just call the bloody police. That's what they're there for. Mind you, I say that, and then, anyway, I said I wouldn't go on about it, but here we are. But it's not difficult, people. It is as simple as, it doesn't matter who the person is next to me, I'm going to treat them with the same love and respect and humanity that I want to be treated with. And that's all we need to do. That is it. And that is what we also need to project when we are talking about other people of other races or other genders or other sexual identifying, whatever it is. Like, if anyone who's different to you and you're talking about it, you talk about it with respect and you don't make fun of it and you don't, those are the things that feed ideas. It might be a little joke to the small group, but if kids hear that, if they overhear it, that's the sort of stuff that sponges in. And that's why the world's been the way it has been for such a long time, in my personal opinion. It's the little things that feed it. If you're different or a minority or, anyway, it's just absolutely mind-boggling to me that we're still living in a world where we believe that somebody is somehow inferior or worse than we are simply because their skin color is different. I mean, it's just, it's just utterly bizarre to me. I don't get it. So there you are. I've said my piece, people, and that is what triggered, obviously, Sony saying we're not going to do the event this week. It's important that what is happening is seen and the voices are heard from that. and we'll come back to. Well, they haven't said we'll come back to it, but of course they will. They'll come back to that when it's all, settled down a little bit. The process hopefully will go on for a lot longer, but hopefully, let's say in a few weeks' time, Sony will feel like it's okay to, promote a product while the protests are also going on. But I think when it's raw like that, I think it's best just let those voices be heard, and then we can come back to it, which is basically what they're doing. So that's fine. Obviously, we're all disappointed. We all wanted to see it, but that's life. There was a whole bunch of stuff we all wanted this year, and coronavirus wiped that out, and that's still going on. So it's just been the most crazy year I can remember in such a long time. Or ever, really. I can't remember a year that's had, but this, that's 2 major events in 1 year. And those events I've not seen the like of. I've never seen an outbreak like that before. I suppose the only thing that came anywhere close to that, I think it was announced as a pandemic. I think AIDS was a pandemic at the time. I was actually living in Germany at the time. I was growing up over there when the whole AIDS thing hit. And that became a massive deal. But I don't remember it really affecting. We didn't get lockdowns and all that sort of stuff. But it was the last time there was anything close to any kind of pandemic warning issued or anything. And I was really quite young at that point anyway. So it wasn't like, I wasn't out sleeping with people anyway. Or, not that that's the only way you get AIDS, but you know what I mean. So, yeah, I haven't seen anything that sort of life-changing happen in my lifetime up until now. I don't think this has been the year. 2020 has been the bizarre year, hasn't it? And it's, to some extent, I'm going to say this, I don't want it to sound bad, but, the awful amount of people that have died is just, there's no wrapping your head around it. Britain's just hit 40,000, I think, or about to, deaths in the UK from coronavirus. But up until this point, none of the coronavirus, that's COVID-19, but none of the coronavirus illnesses have had a cure or a vaccine or anything. So, I think with what's happened, hopefully some good can come out of it, so far as all of this money that's gone into pumping money into finding vaccines, finding cures. And if we find it for COVID-19, maybe that can be used for other coronavirus type stuff as well. So hopefully the good that comes out of it is that we can protect ourselves from the next one that comes along, because there will be a next one. It's just life. These things mutate, they change into other strains. And, that is the course of life, and we need to be prepared for it as best we can. So there you are. So we will get, I'm hoping that it'll be just a few weeks. We're in June already, then we've got July, August, September, and I'm suspecting October and November are going to be the 2 months that those consoles are going to launch, possibly like it did last time, with Xbox in October and PlayStation in November, early November, something like that. They might both go in October. So they don't want to wait too long, because we still don't know what the thing looks like. We still don't really know what the game's... we've had one show off of the Unreal Engine 5, but we've not seen a game that we're going to get hands on running on it yet, or what the exclusives might be. So they don't want to wait too long. I think realistically they might say, you know what, let's do it at the very end of June or beginning of July. Let's do that. And they may even tie it in with whatever, because I think that the event was going to be just about games. We weren't going to see the PlayStation 5 in that event. It certainly didn't sound like that from what they announced. They announced we're going to be showing off the next generation of games, and it was very specific about the fact it was about games. So I think the actual reveal of what the PlayStation 5 looked like and all that malarkey was going to be another event. Now, it could be that they tie those two events together and we get it all in one whack, which would actually be twice as exciting anyway. So, and this hasn't delayed anything. It's just delayed us seeing what we're going to be getting at the tail end of the year. So, it's not the end of the world, people. It's not the end of the world. So there you are. So, yeah, moving on. Yes, a little cheeky leak this week, and I think it came from a store that posted too early or something. I can't remember where it was now. But Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, people, which can be played on the Xbox One back compat. But and I have done 52 parts of that on the channel. So a fine gentleman actually messaged me today because he was just starting to play it again and discovered the channel and discovered the play that I was doing. So he was sitting watching me play it while he started his new journey. And someone else talked about it as well. Another gent was saying that he was excited for the remaster coming out. So it's called, so there's a remaster coming out on the 11th of August of Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, and it's called Kingdoms of Amalur, ready? Re-Reckoning, hey? See what they did there? So Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning, apparently leaked, not confirmed, but leaked, coming out on the 11th of August, I assume, for all platforms. And I think that's going to be a massive hit. Obviously, with PlayStation players, they've not been able to play it at all since New Gen. So that's going to be a massive hit there. Obviously, people that have gone out their way to buy it on the Xbox may feel a bit like I do. I don't feel like it's going to be something I'm going to buy day of launch because I've spent 52 episodes, which is effectively, that's more than 52 hours probably. It's probably about 60 hours worth of gameplay on the back compat thing, and that was only a number of months back that I was still doing that. So I'm not sure that starting that game all over again on a remaster is going to be something I'll do straight away, but certainly it'll be something I'll probably get at some point so that I can enjoy it remastered. And then, of course, THQ Nordic bought the rights to that game because, famously the whole company went bust when the game, not long after the game came out. But THQ Nordic bought that IP last year, I think it was. So we know that, you don't buy an IP with no intention of making a sequel and more to go with it. So that's certainly going to happen at some point as well. So that's all good news. So I'm looking forward to it coming out. I'm just not that fussed for it at the moment because I've played it for so long on the back compat. And the back compat's gorgeous. It's not enhanced for the X, but it just looks stunning because it's been through that back compat process. And all the back compat games just play way better and look way better than they did on the previous console, on the Xbox 360 or the Xbox original for that matter. All right, so here's the global conversation that I wanted to have for this vlog, which was, I'm curious as we keep moving forward, and Xbox suffered a reaction to this when they first launched the Xbox One, which was a horrendous launch anyway. But they were trying to force people into a world of download only, online only, you must have an online connection, blah, blah, blah. And the question would be the question is this: who is starting to turn completely digital and will go all digital for their games on the new gen? And who's going to want to stick with physical? Now, I'm a physical man. There's a song there somewhere. I'm a physical man, and there are games that I don't mind buying digitally. Things like Destiny, for example, which I'm done with now. But Destiny is a prime example. Literally no point in buying a disc for that game. Or any MMO for that matter. There is no point buying it on a disc. Other than, if you can get it for half the price on a disc, then fine. But they're the sort of games that I dip in and out of when I'm on with a single player game. And it's just annoying to have to keep changing the discs. If you've got it digitally, one's on there digitally and one's on a disc, then you can just bounce quite happily between the two. And that's the big bonus of digital games, because you don't have to take discs in and out. You just play. So I'm really curious as to who's going to move more toward digital. When it comes to the Nintendo Switch, I think a lot of people go digital anyway because they don't like the faffing around with the little cartridges and again, with Nintendo, there's a balance there because it's rare, I think, that you can get a physical copy of a Nintendo game cheaper than you can on the store. They're pretty much like for like pricing. With the other two, with Xbox and PlayStation, the pricing is nowhere near comparative almost all of the time, apart from in fact, even day one, you're overpriced for the digital version, really. But above anything else, though, I've got this. I've started. I already have some. Started that sentence 3 times, didn't I? And I meant to have them ready actually to show you. But I think what I'll do is I'll hold off because the collection's going to be slightly bigger. Come The Last of Us and come Ghost of Tsushima. But basically, I had by chance ended up with 3 Steelbooks. I've mentioned this in a vlog recently, I'm sure, but 3 Steelbook editions of I've got one for Hitman collection. Well, it's Hitman, the newest one, whatever that was. I've still not played it. It's on Steelbook. And Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, still not played it, but that's Steelbook. And Sekiro, which I have played, well, played it some, not completed it. Sekiro. Now, the nice thing about the Steelbooks is it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter what console it's for because there's no real advertising on the Steelbook. It comes in a sleeve that you can just take off that's got all the advertising like Xbox and all that on it. So I can sit all three of those games beside each other with their beautiful artwork on the steel casing, and they look like they're all part of the same thing. And so when I get the Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima, I'm going to have 5 of those. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out of my way to try and get the Steelbook version of games that I really want to sort of highlight in my collection and build up a really beautiful collection that way of Steelbooks that I can sort of display. And it's just something I want to do. I think it's a nice sort of centerpiece to put somewhere in my home. And I've just ordered, I managed to find, I've got these actually sit, the Lord of the Rings bookends, which I got when I bought, I think those were from the Two Towers, no they weren't, they were from the first one, they were from Fellowship of the Ring. The box set of DVDs, so they came with that, effectively. But I've got this set in between those chappies. My God, there's dust on there, Steve. You need to yeah, dust people. Eh? But what I've done is I've bought I found I think they must have come with one of the Hobbit sets, which I haven't got, and it's 2 dwarven statue bookends, and I managed to find them on Wish for I think it was £19. So I've ordered those. They're the same height, and I've ordered those to put the Steelbooks between. So they should arrive any day. So I'm really chuffed with that. And I've kind of already highlighted a place that I'm going to put the collection I've got at the minute. And that's the sort of thing that obviously you're never going to have with a digital collection. I mean, I suppose you could go almost digital and then for stuff that you really want to keep, you know, then you could go for a physical like that. But I mean, maybe that's the way I'll go in the future. I mean, at some point, are we going to find ourselves with physical discs that are going to have to be multiple discs because they can't fit the game on them anymore? I mean, we're already up to 100 gig for games. I know that the new consoles have got the newer version of Blu-ray, so they can hold more on their discs. So we're probably all right to kick off with. But I mean, we ended up with multiple discs. I think Red Dead was one of them. There was another one that I'm forgetting. But there was a few games that were multiple discs by the tail end of this console generation. So it's going to be interesting to see if we can all be bothered with it. The nice thing about the new gen is, though, you can actually uninstall stuff that you like, bits of the game. So if the game comes, well, like Red Dead's a good example. I could install it, and then I could say, right, just uninstall the online stuff. I don't want that, you know, or uninstall the DLC or uninstall whatever, and just keep the bits you want. It's almost going back a little bit to the 360. I don't know what the original Xbox was like, but the 360, you could actually uninstall updates and pieces of a game. So you could go into the menu and just say, right, just uninstall these bits, but keep the original game. So it wasn't as in depth as what we're talking about in the new ones, but it was still pretty cool that way. And that was all lost in this gen. So they're bringing that back, and I think that a lot of that is to do with the fact that SSD, the solid state drives that we're moving to they're not giving us very big ones. They're 1 terabyte. That's not a lot. We know that. It's the same size as I've got now. But I think the original PlayStation was 500 gig, wasn't it? So I suppose you marry it to that, it's twice as much. But the Pro and the X are both 1 terabyte. So I'm getting the same size, better disc, mind you, faster and stuff. But the space-wise, we know it's not a lot because the games are so bloody big now. I mean, at most, you're probably going to get 10 games on there. At most. It's probably going to be less than that because all of that 1 terabyte isn't for you. Some of it's for the operating system and stuff. So, you know, we've got the option to expand it in certain ways, but that's costly, you know. So to go all digital. And here's the thing, right? Aaron Brew, my son, he's trying to go all digital, right? And the other night, it was Jedi Fallen Order. He decided finally he was going to play it, but he'd removed it to make room for something else. So he had to sit and wait for in fact, he downloaded it overnight because he had to sit and wait for flipping ages because his broadband's not the best in the world. But even still, it's still, even with good broadband, it's going to take, best part of an hour probably to download. What are you thinking about it? Yeah, it probably will. Probably take a good part of an hour to download a game of that size. But anyway, it's if you just have a whim and say, right, I want to play something, I want to go, boom, I could stick that disc in now and be playing it in 15 minutes. And it depends on the game with the PlayStation. Sometimes the PlayStation can be playing within a couple of seconds. Depends how much of it's actually taken from the disc onto the system. But even with an Xbox game, if I stick an install disc in, it's not that long. It's only maybe 20 minutes for the whole thing to get off the disc onto the system. And even then, they've got the quick start thing where you can actually start playing some of the game before it's all installed. But I mean, he had to sit and wait basically. And then when he was playing it was buggy. It was beyond buggy. I know that it's a buggy game anyway, but I said to him I didn't have any of what you're having, even though I'm on a Pro and he's on a standard. But it's a new Slim he's got for the PS4. So I said to him, look, uninstall it and download it again. But of course then he had to wait a whole other length of time to get it back on again, and you wouldn't have any of that fuss with a physical game. The other massive downside is, of course, that if you buy it digitally, you can't sell that on to somebody else, which I just think's crazy. Why not just when we buy a game we get a specific code and that code is ours, just like the physical game is, and if we decided we don't want it anymore, we can sell the code on to somebody else. I can't imagine it would be that hard to do. So, I mean, it just the more we push toward digital, it feels like the more and more we're just not going to have any, cash back on anything. I mean, I'm not that bothered about that side of it because I don't trade anything in anyway, and in the end, I'll probably only have so much room for. I mean, I'll probably show behind me at some point. I've tried to film my collections, but because a lot of it's in baskets and stuff, I've just filmed the baskets as best I could. But it's just me showing you. I've still got my, I've still got all of my PlayStation 4 games. I've still got all of my Xbox One games. I've still got all of my PS3 games. I've still got all of my Xbox 360 games, and I've still got my new, a new built-up collection of PS2 games, which I did a number of years back with a little slim PS2 I managed to get my hands on. And when I say slim, it's tiny. It's a tiny thing like that. Well, it's big enough, obviously, for the disc. But, yeah, so I've got all of these collections. And actually, in showing you what I'm showing you, my idea is that somewhere I will get tall wall racks where I can put all of this, at least the stuff that's hidden, somewhere that can be displayed nicely so that I've got a little area. I mean, I'd like to have more of an area to do my vlogs in, to be honest. You see a lot of people with all their games around them, and but I've done the best I can with what I've got at the minute, with all my little bits behind me. But the point being that I like keeping my collection because I've been haunted by, ever since I got rid of my PS2 and the whole collection that I had at the time, when I finally kind of got round to being into the game, that was because the 360 came along. And then as time went on, I was like, why did I do that? Because I can't play any of those games now. So it was really quite frustrating. I mean, I suppose to some degree, I could have replaced some of those games as original Xbox copies and played them on the 360 because that was backward compliant. But I think actually I've got one Xbox game, and it's the Buffy the Vampire, from the original Xbox. It's the Buffy the Vampire Slayer game. And I'm keeping it because I've still got my 360 upstairs. I'm pretty sure that's probably not back compliant because of the copywriting that would go on with that. So yeah, so I'm really interested to see what you guys think with regards to where your thought process is, and because a lot of people don't have the space to keep their collections either. A lot of people don't keep them anyway. A lot of people play the game, they go, I'm done with it, sell it. Because if you've got a game you can play within a week and then sell it on eBay, you'll get 70-80% of your money back. So, it's a great way of reinvesting in your next game without any shadow of a doubt. It's just that I like collecting. I always feel like with most games, I may revisit them. There are certain games where I know I'm not going to, but they just sit in the collection anyway. And I think in time, those are the sort of games I'll get rid of just to break things down into the ones that I really want to hold on to. But, the reality is, are we ever going to go back and play all those games again? I mean, I've got my PS3 set out, and it's a novelty to come back to it sometimes, but it is a novelty play. It's not something that I'm going to play weeks and weeks and weeks on end. So, and that's why a big part of me wanted this PS5 to be battle compliant, at least all the way to the PS2, because then my entire library can be played, and I won't feel like I'm just hanging on to consoles for no reason. I mean, I've got the PS3 out, I've got the Xbox 360 and the PS2 in the attic, and I've got the PS4 and the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X also out. The PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X obviously will just get sold on once I get the two new consoles, and there'll be the money from them reinvested in there. So I'm really interested to know. Let me know in the comments below, people, what you're thinking of. Or what you're doing now. Have you gone digital already? Are you thinking about going digital and getting rid of your games? Do you trade in your games anyway and not bother keeping them? Really, the biggest issue for me, if I was to say, right, I'm going digital, apart from the Steelbooks that I really, really want, the biggest issue for me is the fact that the price differential online is just outrageous. Like, when I looked at Kingdom Hearts as a prime example, I went on to see if I could buy Kingdom Hearts, and it's been out for a fair while now, the third one, and certainly all the others, and it was like 50 quid for either the story the story box, or whether the Kingdom Hearts 3. They were both like 50 quid each, and I got one of them for like $14.85 and the other one for $18.95. And that was pretty much all the shops were doing those prices, not the $14.95, but the $18.95 across all the three shops that I normally use was the price on those two games. And yet online it was £50 for each of them. I mean, it's like, it just doesn't marry up at all. Like, and even when they put a sale on, they don't go down to those sort of prices, not at that level of newness. You'll see, like I saw Days Gone for 15 quid the other day, but that's that's that 2 years back now, that's been out. So, yeah, I just it's the price that would massively put me off doing it. You've got to be willing to burn cash if you're going to be wanting everything digitally. So, really, the two big downers for me are the price and the amount of time it takes to get the bloody things downloaded and installed if you want to do it on a whim. I mean, I suppose you could get round that on the new console, well, even now, but on the new console specifically, you can still extend your storage with a hard drive. But if you want to play them, certainly on the PS4, you'd need to move them to the SSD. But at least you'd have them downloading. You just need to move them over. It wouldn't take as long as downloading them. So, yeah. But let me know in the comments below, people, what you're thinking of doing or what you are doing already. I'm going to continue physically unless it's an MMO type style game, and then I'll continue to do it digitally. The other obvious changes to that philosophy are that things like Final Fantasy VII, which is digital only anyway, those games that are old that are just digital format now, I'm happy to have them as digital copies. That's absolutely fine. Although I'd happily take a little digital set of all the HD'd originals that I could display somewhere without any shadow of a doubt. Mind you, I suppose I could just get the originals, find new, but you could buy the originals from someone, but I don't know how good the discs would be, or how good the covers would be at that matter. Because you can get, I mean, there's tons of these things flying around all over the second-hand market. If you want to buy the original PS1, PS1 versions in the little CD cases. God, do you remember that, people? CD cases for games, what? Or if you had a Nintendo 64, which was like, I mean, it was the worst thing about the Nintendo 64 was they gave you those shitty cardboard boxes that the cartridge went in. So it doesn't matter what you buy second-hand from a Nintendo, unless that thing's never been unpacked and it's sat somewhere seriously robust. Every box I've ever seen has been tattered to shit. I mean, it was the worst idea they ever had for boxes for games. And maybe they were the first people to think about recycling. Biodegradable boxes, please, made from cardboard that will be gone within a week. But I mean, the load time of the cartridges, what? fast as shit. All right, people, I think that's probably all I've got for you. If I carry on any longer, I fear that I'll be rambling on for no reason whatsoever, but we all like to do that. You know I like to do that anyway. So there you are. I think we'll wrap it up there. But do let me know. You know how much I like to hear from you. You know how much I like to talk back to you. And I always reply, people. I always reply if you say something nice. And it has been, yes it has, an honour and a privilege serving for you in this vlog of mine today. And I shall see you all in the next one, folks. Take it easy. Bye.